Hey guys, it's Julia and welcome back to my channel, and for today's video I'm going to be doing a video pretty much sharing why I think you should read Mr. Mercedes and Finders Keepers, both by Stephen King. And I just thought I'd do this in honor of the release date. This should be going up the day of the release for the third book in the series, which is End of Watch, which is one of like my most anticipated, and I've been waiting for this. So yeah, so I thought I'd just share what this trilogy is about and all the things that go along with that. And in this series we follow Detective Bill Hodges, and he has retired from being a detective, and there was this case that he never solved called the Mercedes case, and this guy crashed his Mercedes into a line of people intentionally. Obviously it wouldn't be, you know what I mean. And Bill never caught him, so as he is retired, he gets a note from the Mercedes killer taunting him how he never caught him, and this kind of drives him to get out of retirement and him trying to catch the Mercedes killer along with some old friends and colleagues and things like that. I just first get around that Stephen King doesn't just write horror. I don't know why, like if I mention anything to Stephen King they're like, ooh, that's scary. I'm like, but not all of his stuff is horror. These I would say are crime mystery thrillers, and they're like really twisted, and I read them, like I read the first book a while ago, I think May of 2015, and I remember every little thing that I can, and it's just such a memorable story, which is really lovely. Basically something that I really was interested in seeing was that we saw the detective's perspective, but we also saw the killer's perspective, and it was so interesting just how his brain works and everything that goes along with him. Some of the stuff, like, oh yes, it's so good. Also, I will mention that these are pretty inappropriate in certain aspects, and sexual aspects and violence and language, etc. So just be aware of that before picking them up, that these are adult. Just saying, if you don't like reading about that stuff, or you can't, or whatever, then you know. When I read Mr. Mercedes, I gave it about a 4.8, which was really weird rating, but I just couldn't give it the full 5, but it was so close to 5, and it was on my favorites of 2015, and it's just such an amazing book, and it's so interesting. I don't know, I want to keep it like that. I don't know what much else to say, but that's Mr. Mercedes for you. And then Finders Keepers, as it is the sequel, it still follows similar, or the same people. I don't want to say too much, but this follows a different crime, and it's so interesting. It's about this guy who murders this author for killing off one of his favorite characters, and he, like, the guy's like, take all the money you want, but he takes his drafts and all his unpublished books that he was writing, and he takes all of it, he kills him, and he leaves, and he's sent to jail, but he manages to bury all of this stuff, and he's off to jail, and someone finds it, and it's all about that, and the guy, and about what happened to him, and the whole story of the mystery, and it's so good. This one wasn't as good as Mr. Mercedes, but it was still excellent. I think I gave it like a 4 to 4.5. It was an excellent story. It's so twisted as well, and it was just so well thought out. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how did you think of this? I don't know. Just be careful when reading. If you do end up going to look at more reviews of this book, just remember not to look too much into the synopsis, because it will probably spoil some basic things about who lives, who dies, and all that in Mr. Mercedes. So just be aware of that, and who the killer is in Mr. Mercedes, even though you know anyways, but like, still just be aware of that before, you know. So basically the reason why I would highly recommend these books is because, one, they're extremely memorable, and they're such unique and twisted stories that you are gonna remember, most likely. Such like a good trio of characters that are trying to solve the crime, and there's romance in the first book, and it's not overwhelming romance, but it's there, and it's just, the writing style is amazing, the suspense is great, the twists are wonderful. You wouldn't think that someone could make this all up. Like, you wouldn't, like, how did he come up with this? I don't know. Let me know if you've read Mr. Mercedes and Finders Keepers, or one or the other, or whatever. I don't know why you just read this one, but like, this one's the first one, so do that. And let me know if you guys have read these and if you're anticipating the new release and have watched the last book in the trilogy, which I'm so excited for. It comes out today if I post it correctly. It comes out on the 7th. And yeah, those are my thoughts on these two books. When you hold them upside down. I'll see you guys next time with a new video. Bye.